That's right, folks. Hundreds to thousands of fish are being found dead out there on the Ohio River. Hi, thanks for joining us at We Be Fishing. We're a viewable podcast right here on YouTube and a spin-off version of the B&T Catfishing Adventures channel. Thanks for joining us. Again, there are tons of fish out there right now, and it's an absolute mess out there on the Ohio River as things are getting a little ripe out there in these hot months, or this hot month of August. You know, there's several news agencies locally here that have, commented or done full stories on this event. And what it is, some people say it's an annual thing that takes place with these fish that are dying off. But I've fished these rivers a lot over the last few years here on the Ohio, and I haven't seen anything to this degree or these numbers of fish that we're seeing dead and floating down the river right now. It's pretty nasty. I mean, the banks are lined with dead fish, and then there's just so many more just floating down the river. I was out in the boat just yesterday even, and having to dodge these fish, these humongous fish, as we're just going down the river. It's not a pretty sight out there, and it's pretty stinky at times too in certain spots. But this is, like I said, some people say this is an annual thing. I've not seen it, as I said, in this type of numbers. Now, what it is, the fish that are dying, it's one species of fish that is being affected by this, and that is the Asian carp or the silver carp that's dying off out there. Now, you know, we're not too brokenhearted about that because these are an invasive fish, and these fish are, most people are going to tell you, not something that's great to eat, and they are very dangerous to boaters, skiers, tubers, kneeboarders, anybody that's going to be out on the water. These fish can be dangerous. They can go into a kind of a frenzy where they're jumping out of the water when they get startled from boat motors or just any loud noise or whatever. Lights can affect them, and they start jumping. And these fish are, many times 12, 15, 20-pound fish or bigger. And they're flying up out of the water. They're jumping in your boat. They're flying. They're hitting you in the chest or in the head, which I've had happen, and it's not something that is a comfortable feeling, let me tell you. But they're very dangerous to people. People have been knocked out of their boat. People have been knocked out. Somebody with heart condition hits squarely in the chest. This could cause somebody, obviously, to have a heart attack. I mean, these fish are seriously dangerous in that regard. Now, they have no true predators out there once they reach a certain size. I mean, there's nothing out there that wants to feed on these fish, and they just grow to enormous size. And they eat so much food that some of the native fish eat that some of these other fish can be just, reduced in numbers or almost wiped out in certain places. Now, so, like I said, we don't have, a warm spot in our heart for these fish, so the more of them that go, we feel pretty much the better off. I mean, the state spends millions of dollars, and several states up and down the Ohio River spends millions of dollars a year battling to reduce the number of these fish, and doing their best to try and figure out how to kill them. If one jumps in your boat, you're not allowed to legally here in Kentucky put it back in the water. You have to dispatch that fish. You've got to kill it before putting it back in the water, or you could throw it up on the bank. But it's illegal for you to return that fish to the water. That's how bad it is, folks. But the cause of these fish dying and causing so much of a mess here is we have been having extremely, high temperatures for a period of time here. And I say that, and I know a lot of you have it worse, but it's been in the 90s, 92, 95 degree temperatures. But we've had heat indexes of like 110 degrees and stuff like that for a period of time. So it's very hot out there, folks. And although we have had historical flooding this year, we haven't had any significant rainfall in a period of time in this area. And this is a big reason for this die-off of these fish out there. Now, you have the extreme temperatures, and then you have not having the rainfall has caused a depletion of the oxygen level in the water. These fish need good quality oxygenated water. Let me get that out there to survive. Now, this low numbers will even affect catfish and bass and stuff like that on how active they are when these oxygen levels are so low. But these fish are more sensitive to that, and it's causing them to die out. Now, like I said, these fish can be kind of jumpy and they can get scared by loud noises and stuff. Well, you got more pleasure boaters out there at this time of year too, and so on. And I noticed the barge traffic was really heavy yesterday. So these fish are already under a certain stress level. So stress can do it as well, be a factor in that. Now, parasites are another thing that certain people have said can be possibly a factor on some of these fish dying out. Don't know that I see that in big numbers. Now, there's also no indication that pesticide runoffs from farm fields are an issue. For one thing, they're not having runoff because we haven't had the water to drain the fields off to put them into the river to put those pesticides in the water. So to have pesticide runoff, you have to have rainfall on those fields for them to get to a certain level of flooding to then start washing out and come out onto the river. So pesticide runoff is not a factor in this. This is the stress levels, the extreme temperatures, and the low levels of oxygenated water, which is causing these fish to die. Yeah, like I said, we're not saddened by the death of these Asian fish. We don't like, the look of how it is out there on our rivers, but, and it's how nasty it's created up and down the banks of the river, and just a smelly situation. So there you go. Like I said, some of you may have seen the news stories already, or just pictures or heard about the dead fish. But if you haven't already known what types of fish they were or what is occurring to these fish, there you go. We just thought we'd go ahead and bring that to you because I know it's, like I said, it's been in the news and I see a lot of people talking about it, for instance, on Facebook and so on. And there's a lot of people out there that are uneducated on why these fish are dying off, or even the type of fish they are. So there you go. That's what it is. So if you're coming boating through the Kentucky, Indiana side, down through this big stretch here, you may want to hold your nose. It's going to be kind of ripe. So there you are. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. I hope this fills you in on those of you that have heard something about it but didn't get all the details. Anyway, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We'd love to have you with us here at We Be Fishing. And don't forget, when you sign up, subscribe, you also get the B&T Catfishing Adventure channel as well. You don't want to miss that. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you back here real soon at We Be Fishing. You guys take care.